Sully, for me? Or just for the start of the conference, basically? Awesome. So I'm going to be moving around. So if you can't hear me, just let me know. And yeah, so let's get started. All right, so my name is Sully Luepke, and I'm bulimic. So from 2013 to 2017, I actually had an eating disorder and I was bulimic. And then I said the fitness industry failed me. But realistically, it didn't. I'm here to talk today about the mind-body connection. So when I say the fitness industry failed me, it's because I didn't have my mental building blocks in place. So that brings me to this. You entrusted us today, all of us speakers, to give you information. But realistically, it's not going to do anything. The information we give you today, unless you implement, nothing is going to change. And to create a better life, you absolutely have to take this information and actually instill it into your life. Derek Sivers, New York Times bestselling author, he says that if we all had, my apologies. If information was the key, we'd all be rich billionaires with six-pack abs. Now this is the realest statement there is, because information doesn't do anything unless we implement it. Knowledge is not power, believe it or not. Implementation of knowledge is power. And luckily, he's holding it right over there. We live in a time where we can have our phones, and they have as much computing power as the space shuttles that took our astronauts to the moon. Over and over and over again. And we're able to use those as a gift nowadays. So armed with that, if there's one thing today that I ask you, and please, I implore you to write this down, that a decision plus action equals improvement. Improvement over time equals success. So now I suppose, now that I told you bulimic, now that I'm asking you to take some action, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an Afghan vet. I served in Operation Freedom Sentinel. I'm currently active duty in the United States Air Force. So, thank you. With that, I have to say that nothing that I say today is because of the United States Air Force or the government appointed over me. This is completely 100% Sully James Luepke. I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, 250 people, the exact center of the state. It's called chili. Yes, it is very cold, and they do make good chili, believe it or not. I'm blessed, 100%. I grew up with two parents. My grandparents lived right up the road, and God blessed me with some athletic ability. It was absolutely awesome. Unfortunately, my senior year I broke my ankle, and well, there goes the recruiters, there goes everything like that, and I ended up at a college I didn't want to be at. This is a blessing in disguise. It started me down the path that led me getting out of Wisconsin and getting out of the Midwest. Hard to believe that a broken ankle in a college you don't want to go to is a blessing, but it is. Today I'm actually really blessed. So my dad's holding the camera right over there, and he actually affected my life more than he'll ever know. I want to be successful not only for him, but for my mother, for my parents, and for the rest of the world. But it was him walking into my college at Mankato and swiping his credit card, which I've never seen him do, for $3,500 to pay the rest of my tuition. And that moment, I decided that I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted to do something more, and I wanted to provide. I thought it was going to be athletics. That wasn't it, and trust me, it's not on a military paycheck. But luckily, the Air Force has given me many, many things that I couldn't even list in this half hour. It got me out of Wisconsin, and took me to Italy, where I currently live. So, my first taste of failure was not only being an athlete, but then also in the Air Force. I was originally explosive ordnance disposal. It's where we play with bombs and then we hopefully blow them up without hurting anybody. But I never made it that far. I got booted out, failed a couple of tests. That's okay. Then I got reclassed into a job I don't want. Still don't want it to this day. But that didn't stop me from getting really, really good at it. Because even if you don't want to do it, you're going to have to learn that we have to be good at things that we don't want to do. Because on a daily basis, 80 to 90% of our tasks, a lot of us don't want to do. We don't want to work that 9 to 5. You know, and that's what we're constantly chasing. We're constantly chasing a job that we can be passionate about to where it's no longer work. Maybe a little bit is. But this actually led me to discovering some subscripts. You know, some programs that are running deeper and deeper and deeper in my mind. And luckily, the military does provide some therapy. And first off, if anybody can go to the therapist, definitely go, highly recommended. Many things are running behind the scenes that nobody can go to, you don't feel comfortable talking to, significant other, sometimes they don't know, but a therapist, definitely 100% recommended. So, let's see here. This brings me to, over time, I learned therapists can also be in books. How do I get better? How do I get better? How do I get better? Well, luckily I stumbled upon a book called No Excuses by Jim Tracy, right up my alley. I am a type A kind of guy. I don't like making excuses, but you know, I failed, so I made an excuse. I got reclassed into a job that I didn't like. I made an excuse. So how do I take back control of my life? Well, believe it or not, it's in the introduction of the book. I didn't even have to read the 21 ways to be self-sufficient. He talked about this little place called Someday Island. Everybody has a Someday Island one way or another. So he talks about, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to get in shape someday. You know, and it just keeps going on and on and on. I'm going to get my mental clarity someday. And unfortunately, that someday becomes tomorrow, which is the enemy of today. Let's just do it today. Or it becomes next week, 6 months. We don't want to have those hard conversations. We don't want to look ourselves in the mirror and see what we can improve today. You know, then I built on it. Mark Devine, a former Navy SEALs commander, a lot of my meditation practices or breathing practices, I'm actually going to teach you a few today, are from his books. I figure if he's good enough to be a Navy SEAL, if he's good enough to go kick indoors and learn how to scuba dive and blow things up, it's good enough for me. I work in an office. I talk to people in the air conditioning. Trust me, if they can do that under stress, that's where I want to go. And of course, other titans, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, they are all your personal therapists. And in one way or another, they will give you building blocks throughout the rest of your life. Well, with that, since I'm here to talk about the mind-body connection, let's start with a little breathing exercise. So if I could ask you, for a moment, just kind of close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. Now envision the most perfect scene you've ever seen. It could be anywhere. Personally, mine's a baseball diamond.
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. Oh, it's gorgeous, especially when you see it from Hawaii. It's unbelievable. So, baseball, 75-degree day, this is my person. Next, envision one person. Could be somebody that's the most influential, could be a child, could be a significant other. One person that you know that you will listen to, that can sit you down and just be like, hey, you gotta go this way. Or somebody you can have a conversation with. Believe it or not, this person is your subconscious. Pinocchio had it right with the cricket. Somebody to talk to, where you can go to forever and ever. This is called a mind gym. So if you can do this exercise over and over again, get to this place, get to this place, get to this place. Any problem that comes into your life, you can get over it. You can talk it through. everything of that nature. So now that we have your mind gym, I'm gonna teach you some breathing. Because believe it or not, none of us are taught how to breathe. Very few of us when we're young are taught how to run. They're just like, that's good enough, go to gym, have fun. Maybe do a pull-up or two, try to. Wasn't very good at those when I was younger. Compensate a little bit, my bad. So, one more time I ask you, close your eyes, now get to your mind gym, picture. Have your friend over in the corner, we don't need him this time. Now I ask you to take a deep breath. All right, let it out. Let's do it one more time. One more deep breath. And let it out. So, a lot of us aren't taught to breathe. Now I'm gonna make you take the deepest breath in time that you ever take. So now I want you to fill your belly with air. So once you take a deep breath, and let it out. Was that deeper than the last one? Bet you it was. Believe it or not, we got more. So now, once we're gonna fill our belly with air, then we're gonna go up into our rib cage. So we go from our diaphragm to our rib cage. So fill your belly. Now take one more into your rib cage. That was a bigger breath than before, right? Believe it or not, we have more. Just like a human being, we always have more. We can always do more. We are adaptive machines. All right, so last time, I'm gonna ask you to go from your diaphragm to your rib cage to your upper chest. All at one time. So we're gonna go diaphragm, rib cage, and upper chest. And let it out. So far, you guys can open your eyes. We've gone through covering our mind gym, and now we've gone through learning how to breathe. These two things put together are unbelievable because they can clear your mind from anything. You can talk through anything. You can get a deeper breath. You hyperoxygenate. And that leads me to the next thing. The secret to success means, because it's different for all of us. If you decide, if you act, and then you improve, that's the equation. Decision, action, improvement. Improvement over time equals success. So, I'll admit, I stumbled a lot. I stumbled a lot and still stumble to this day. But luckily, I discovered 3 questions that really improved my life and set me down the path that I am right now. So they're, who are you? What do you wish to become? And how do you fill the gap? Once again, decide, act, improve, fill the gap. Nice and simple. Once I discovered these, it was, my options were endless. Who am I? What do I want to do? How do I want to act? Or how do I fill the gap? Life is all about adversity, and the system today I'm actually going to teach you will help you face it head on. It'll help you decide. It'll help you act, and it'll help you succeed, or improve to succeed. So I actually have a 7-step system, and it works for fitness, works with the emotional, mental, and spiritual side. Whatever you want to work on, this will help. So the first thing is that we got to define a goal. Dr. Nichols, he's a sports psychologist, works with some of the greatest athletes, works with the Super Bowl team for the Seahawks. He says that it's so weird that humans walk around and they don't know what they want to do or who they want to become. So he talks about having a personal statement. And this is defining your goal. What does your personal statement want to be? What do you want to do? So my personal statement is, over the next 10 years, I hope to help 100 million people in the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional side of pillars of life. It's a big goal. I don't know if I'm going to reach it, but if I can help one person, that's enough for me, because maybe they'll touch 100 million people. And then, by way of that, I do too. So after that, what we're gonna do is define some core values. So the Air Force gave me many things. Not a speaking gig, but luckily Nikki was there for me for that. The Air Force gave me 3 core values specifically. Integrity first. What are you doing when nobody's looking? Service before self. To be a little selfless, don't get me wrong, you have to take care of yourself. But to be a little selfless, help people when they're down, that's kind of required in today's world. And excellence in all we do. Always strive for the best. A lot of the times, you're not going to make it, but if you're striving for the best, you can improve, you can keep going. And luckily, I added a couple myself. Passion. There's a recent study that says, in a study of 3,000 people, that people without passion die younger. This makes sense. If you don't have anything to go for, if you don't have something that's pushing you, that you're truly passionate about, what are you doing? You're sitting around, maybe drinking some pina coladas on the beach, but that gets old after a couple of days. Playing some golf, not me, I get angry. I can't hit the ball straight. So, passion is absolutely required. You know, and then in 2016, when I was in Afghanistan, I read the book by Vision Lakian called The Code of an Extraordinary Mind. Completely changed my life because this last core value is something that I live by today. And it's called the I love you core value. It's where you look in a mirror and you tell yourself 3 times, I love you, I love you, I love you. First time I did it, I teared up. Middle of a war zone, cried like a little baby. Did it again the next day, same thing. Did it again the next day, same thing. So I don't know about you, but I don't tell myself I love you very much. Hear it from my parents all the time. My mom definitely. She loves telling me she loves me. Yeah, big thing. I'm so happy for it. But if you tell yourself you love you 3 times a day, just looking in the mirror every time you see it, I guarantee you it'll affect yourself in a positive manner. So after core values, we're going to create a plan. Dr. Jordan Peterson, best-selling author, 12 Rules for Life, he did this with his college students in Canada. And he found that a 50% increase in graduation rates just by creating a plan. This was in men, my apologies. 50% in the men that they tested increased graduation, 50% graduation rates. He was amazed that nobody goes through life with a plan. Nobody sits you down, determines what you want to do. So that goes back to the first one, create a goal, but then we actually have to create the plan. Now this was actually really important. We're going to work for 90 days. After we have our plan, we're going to work for 90 days. Because it's short enough to see the end of the tunnel, but it's long enough to where it's a quarter of the year. We can sit there and adjust. That's going to come later. But we didn't waste an entire year. Time is precious. Time is precious. Jesse Itzler, in his book Living with a Monk, had a tactic. He wrote how many days he had left until he turned 78. It's not morbid, it's beautiful. Because 78 is the average age that an American lives to. We're lucky for us. We're higher than a lot of countries. So it's definitely a good thing. Believe it or not, the tactic is very powerful because the way you look at it, you can look down and you realize that time is not to be wasted. Time is something that is required to improve and everything of that nature. So after that, you work for 90 days, and Tony Robbins has my favorite quote of the year, or quote probably of the century. What you know doesn't mean shit. Show me what you do consistently. If you don't work, if you don't do that for 90 days, what are you doing? If you don't do it for 1 day, what are you doing? What you know is how you implement, right? Go back to the implementation phase. Then after those 90 days, we're going to review. How do we course correct? Course correct. Tim Story says, go outside the picture frame. most of the time we're so busy in life that we can't get outside of our picture frame, right? We have to be able to take ourselves out and really, really course correct. Be critiquing every single day. Now, be harsh. You can handle it, especially if you're saying the I love yous. You can handle it. Be harsh on yourself, right? Be outside that picture frame, then we're gonna dive back in because we're gonna adjust. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Trust me, being bulimic for 4 years is pretty crazy. Every single day, you're sitting over a toilet and you're like, this is it. I'm not doing this again. I like food. And the next day you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then you just repeat the same thing. Didn't implement the tactics, so I didn't learn, right? So I had to do something different. I had to course correct, I had to adjust. And once you adjust on your plan, then you can repeat. After 90 days, you hit the reset button. Most important thing is that you don't forget the lessons, right? Do not forget the lessons. Choice plus action equals improvement. Improvement over time equals success. That's pretty easy. Jim Rohn always said that your failures don't have to be your failure. You know, there's thousands of books out there that you can learn from. People have written it down. Seek out that knowledge, course correct, adjust, then just repeat it. Then that pretty much brings me to the end here. We're getting pretty close. I'll run through those one more time. It's just nice and simple. Define a goal, determine your core values, make a plan, work for 90 days, review, adjust, and repeat. I'm going to leave you guys with this. The one book that I semi-read in high school, like I said, I was an athlete, didn't read much, spark notes all the way, was called The Road by Cormac McCarthy. In it, Dad has a lighter. It's a post-apocalyptic world, right? Dad has a lighter. And he always says to his son throughout the book, carry the fire. Carry the fire. It's a great metaphor. Because if you have fire, you have life. Right? It's written all over the place. It's written in the Bible. He is the fire within us. And after that, ooh boy, lost my spot. My apologies. If you have life, you have the biggest blessing in the world. And I ask that if you're breathing, if you're going forward, that you ignite that fire. And not only ignite it, that you're going to turn it into an inferno. And then after you have your own inferno, I ask you to reach over and help somebody else ignite their own fire. Because that's how we're going to improve the world. And hopefully that the tools and tactics I gave you today will help you along that journey. Thank you guys for being here. And I thank Nikki, can't thank her enough. And I thank my dad for taking the videos.